The next item on our agenda is for public comment, and again, we'd ask that everyone please keep your comments to 3 minutes. And again, this is a public forum, and let's be mindful and respectful of children and everyone who's present. So the next person I'd like to call up is Jennifer Playson, please.
Thank you, Board, for allowing me to speak. My name is Jennifer Playstead. I'm a teacher in the district, as well as I have children who attend Mansfield City Schools. You know, I wasn't planning on speaking, but a couple things I just wanted to, I guess, address and talk about. You talked about better utilizing Spring Mill. I agree. We do need to better utilize Spring Mill. However, eliminating all the staff at Spring Mill, I don't see how that's better utilization of the building. You know, you allow teachers to bring their students in. Those displays have lesson plans and curriculum built around them. And I'm not sure when those teachers are going to get trained in that, because we don't have a whole lot of time or money to spend on professional development for teachers these days. One of the things that you talked about was that we have more staff than last year. That's incorrect. Janet Ellsworth retired and we did not replace her, so we have less staff. We've also lost our custodian, our full-time custodian. You know, the facility was built for 4th through 6th grade to feed into our current STEM program that we do have at the middle school and high school. And so, you know, allowing middle school and high school, it's not that it's not an option, but our facility was built to foster learning in 4th through 6th grade. I'm not saying there aren't creative ways we can do that. You know, any investment you make takes years to get out of that investment. We have developed plans. We have hit the pavement running with selling days. The facility was just completed last year for full utilization. And we've sold quite a few days this year. We're working on selling more and more days. The word's getting out. People are interested in coming. We have 4 school districts that are going to come throughout the rest of the year, as well as servicing out of our students. You know, we had planned to better utilize the facility to have students there full time. We wanted to apply to be a STEM school. We were turned down to be able to do that. Malabar teachers do, you know, one of the things that you talked about was whether or not the Malabar teachers dovetail on the lessons that are taught there. They absolutely do. The lessons that are taught at Spring Mill are taken back into the classroom. Students are constantly bringing those things up. And I know that because I have a daughter who's in 4th grade. She talks about those things constantly. I still have friends. I used to teach at Malabar. They talk to us all the time about how their students bring up issues and experiences that they had at Spring Mill. So, I don't know, your idea of better utilizing and eliminating all the staff there, I just don't see how that's better utilizing the facility. And I agree, you know, there are too many staff there. We can't afford to have that many staff there. But reducing it to 2 teachers, I think would be a really, really good idea for the kids in this district, as well as surrounding districts. Thank you.
The next person I'd like to call up is Linda Papagic, please.
I don't know if you took the time to read the rest of my report that I was able to get to the last time I stood before you. If I'm passionate, that's what puts fire in my belly and helps me do what I do. For these middle school students. We have students whose parents cannot read. We have students who never have any adult speak to them without shouting or cussing. We have students whose parents and families never sit down and say, let's play a game, let's play cards, look at this in this book. You are taking librarians out of this district, and it will be on your heads. Every successful district in the nation has librarians working with those students. In my school library, we service 6 grades, not just 3. We have 1,700 students. Every one of our students, though we don't make money like Spring Mill does, they bring funds with them from the state. One student pays that $3,000 how many times over because they're a student in our building. Your elementary librarians barely make, because they're parents, barely make $20,000 a year. Let me count how many librarians you're cutting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 20,000. You're saving $140,000 in salaries to get rid of people who put books in the hands of children who don't have them in their homes. Books they can take home. I have students who borrow books, say The Hunger Games, because this has been very popular, and now it's going to be Divergent. We have students who come to us and say, do you have this book or that book? My mother wants to read it. Or they return one book and they say, my other book is still out because my parents are reading it. My parent, my grandparent, my aunt, my uncle is planting a garden. Do you have a book for them? Yeah, we do. You know, if you go to the public library, your card is free. We can't borrow books at the public library because we have so many fines. We have 19 plus 12, we have 31 computers in our library. And now, who's going to be there to supervise the students when they need to type up a report? And the rest of the class doesn't have to come down there. These students don't have access to computers in the public library. And I'm not saying that's all we do, far be it. My middle school teachers know what I do. But the public library doesn't allow students to use the computers in the library in this county, which is unique, without a library card. And if they don't go and get their parents with them to get a library card, they won't have that library card.
Thank you for your comments. The next person I'd like to call on is Dan Kitchen, please. I'm sorry, Dawn.
It's terrible handwriting, it's Dawn. Thank you. Thanks for seeing me again. I got flustered at the end and didn't come up with some of the ideas that I did present to you in a letter, and I just wanted to maybe touch on them again. I appreciate what you guys are doing, and I do want to help our school district. I do want to keep teachers in classrooms. So I appreciate that you guys are trying to keep Spring Mill open. But it just, as Mrs. Plaisted said, don't think that it open without a staff is going to work. I have a high certainty that we'll be here in a year and we'll say that it was never used. And so it feels like the same thing. Now I agree. You gave me the data, and $500,000 seems like it's being spent on upkeep, which would still be there, but also salaries. 9 people there right now when they're not doing what we wanted them to do is too many. But to have, and I'm a scientist, and I've done research in this area, trying to get our regular teachers to have the professional development, like Mrs. Plaisted said, so that they could do inquiry-based approaches, not just hands-on. If you do hands-on, that's great for a lot of the kids in our community who can't afford to go to COSI, and I agree that, but the data suggests it needs to be inquiry-based. So we need at least 2 people that would be focused on developing and maintaining curriculum and promoting this in a way to school districts. Now, I would love to help. I will volunteer my time if you need me, or I can get other faculty from OSU, teachers in our community, to help advise the 2 remaining staff that would be there, so we can hold them to the fire and say, let's get this plan. I agree we need a plan. And I agree, I'd like it to reach more students, and I'm guessing that the staff that's out there would like that too. But I couldn't do this by myself. No disrespect to our superintendent, he's not qualified in the STEM field to do this. We need somebody. We can't even imagine a way that the teachers would come up, because there would be no one to coordinate who's there when. And I spoke to a bunch of the teachers. They said they would have no time to develop curriculum. So it would end up being closed eventually. And so some of the ideas, for example, charging an admission for a field trip on a scale. For those of us who can afford it, we pay. For those students who can't, they don't pay. A nominal fee would help supplement. And again, reducing the staff, on days when they haven't managed to book the place. Like I said, use them as substitutes. They don't have to be paid more. Get them on a book as a person that could be a substitute. Have them take their cart out and do the Woodland can pay them $1,000 instead of COSI, which is where they spent their money on the cart that came to school, which the COSI teachers and students were over the moon about. Facilities didn't talk about Brinkerhoff or Ray Melton and the kinds of things that might need to be done to them in the next year, but I feel that Brinkerhoff, Ray Melton, and Springmill are all underutilized buildings. There's open, if we could take Spanish immersion, maybe move it to Ray Melton, and take the superintendent and staff and move it to Springmill, that would save money. We could close Brinkerhoff.
I'm sorry.
There's a lot of ideas.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes all of our public comments, and thank you all very much. Now, the next item on our agenda is to, I'd like to have a resolution to close Newman Elementary.
Sadly, I second.
Ms. Stevens, would you call the roll, please? Mr. Ellsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraus?
No.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Ms. Klein? Yes. The next item on our agenda is to have a resolution to approve the personnel actions and the reduction in force. Just as a reminder, in case anyone does not have the agenda, this list will not be read tonight. It will be posted within the next hour, and that will be directly after this meeting is concluded. So may I please have a resolution to approve the personnel actions and the reduction in force?
I move.
Ms. Stevens, would you please call the roll? Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Kraus?
No, I wasn't involved in these decisions, so I'm voting against.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Mr. Ellswick?
No.
Ms. Klein? Yes. Now I'd like to have a resolution to adjourn. You have to move.
I move to adjourn. I'll second.
Would you please call the roll? Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Mr. Ellswick?
Yes.
Mr. Kraus?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Klein? Yes. Thank you.